And we are back to part 2, theoretically. So while I'm waiting for the parts to arrive here in a few more days, I kind of look over this thing. It needs a washing. So I guess we need to cover up a few things here and give her a good wash down before we try to continue doing our stuff. Because we know it runs. The carburetors are nice and clean. I gotta drain the fuel tank first, though, because that's gonna be a hella mess, more or less. And it's gonna get everywhere. So we'll probably do that outside. And then, because where it was leaking yesterday, all that was me not, when one of the carbs, I took it off. This carb, it fell down, I didn't notice. And it just kept leaking fuel out because it was at an awkward angle. So that's what all that is. That's not from the engine or anything like that, so. But we've got that one bolt up there that's kind of leaky. So we'll try to see what that goes to. I'll get the parts manual out and address it if it just needs sealant put on it. But got a trash bag and other goodies to get going here. But first, got to drain that fuel out. There we go. So that's that fuel filter questionable. And we're draining. Now it does have a fuel pickup in it, so we'll see how far it can drain down, and then we'll just clamp it off. We'll go from there, get this drained real quick. Doesn't smell bad, actually. It is flammable, like I said in the last video, so I'm thinking there was just some water at the bottom, and maybe that's what was in the carbs, why it wouldn't light off. But either way, carbs are cleaned. Well, I guess the jets were partially clogged on some of them, so yeah. I'm thinking this thing is probably sat for 5 or 6 years, and it's needed some love. So while that's draining, I'm going to show you real quick. It wasn't that one. It was this one. Well, I had to order new ones. It's delaminating. Because it's a metal backing that's encased in rubber. And it's delaminating, and though it wasn't on the inside, it was going to eventually make its way there. And this is what supports and holds the carburetor. So, don't think I showed that last video. This video, I am showing that. But, like I say, I've got to get parts here before I can install stuff and whatnot, but that should be this video. This will be split up over a couple days. And we're still draining over here. Ooh, spider. Spider. One container? That's what, 2 gallons? It's filled up to about here where my thumb is when I stop. And then this one is 3/4 of the way. So we've got, God, I'd say almost 3.5 gallons of fuel almost. 3.5 gallons of fuel out of this thing. So that should be pretty much done, which it is. Now I gotta get the engine wrapped up, and then wheel her outside. I was looking up kits online about riding these on the street, just something to be able to ride it up and down real quick. Not really many options, and I guess I can kind of understand. Something bolt-on. So what I might do is just ratchet strap these on and take them down the road with the Harbor Freight dollies. Yep, that's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever thought of. We'll get to that, but I need to ratchet strap them down because there's a lip to my garage door here, and when trying to lift this up into here, that's going to be a pain in the ass, and I kind of need these to stay on here because I'm just one person right now. My genius has no bounds. Look at this. You can go down the road at 50 and be just all right. Suspension's even compressed, so it's not going anywhere. That'll be my pain in the ass, but for now, this will get it outside, theoretically. And before I wheel it outside, yes, I realized it would not actually work because these are caster wheels, so they're just going to go any direction that the rear's pointing. But if it had solid wheels, it'd probably work pretty good. Either way, I could say 50 miles an hour straight line approved if you could keep it in a straight line. So, what do? Well, first step you got to do is crack a beer. All right, then take a sip. And then over here you have your soap and water with your towels in it. And then I have my engine degreaser over here because you got to rebuild the paint on this. So, first off, the instructions, we don't read them. Oh, health hazards. No, I did look. I shouldn't have. Health protection measures, first aid. Don't get it in your eyes and your mouth. Avoid skin contact. That's common sense. I presume shake it maybe. Directions, spray can should be near room temperature. Well, it's 72 in the garage, so perfect. And we're just going to rebuild it. Rebuilding. Restoring. Restoration at its finest right here. Look at that. Did you look at that already? It is just fantastic. I don't own a foaming cannon setup. So, you know, I have a power washer. It leaks like hell everywhere, but we're just going to get under the hood here first. And oh, yeah. Just going to clean it. We're restoring it is what we're doing right now. So, coils covered, rebuilding, restore, restoration. So this is what we're going to do all around it. Get her nice and clean. All right, one full can of that later. Let's put it on flat. Wow, that stuff actually does work great. Looks like a brand new thing. That restores stuff with magic. Is there not drain holes right there? Seriously? I'll have to give it another dose, but this stuff works fantastic. Why am I not bringing you guys along for the ride? All right. Look at this. It's like brand new almost, if I can get the tripod around. Okay, it'll have to have a second application, but look at that. I can read it. And yeah, I'll have to scrub and stuff, but just carefully get down in here where all the vital electronics are. Yep, coils and all. Gas tank, I didn't spray it. Ah, look at that, use water to get rid of water. Yeah, that's looking like something, a polished turd. Well, now we need to see how well the front's going to clean up here while that's draining. That's why it's at an angle, because the exhaust has a drain port or whatever, and stuff's draining out. So, and then we'll get the leaf blower out a little later and everything and whatnot. But let's get this hood cleaned up, shall we? She sure did clean up pretty good. Gotta get the appropriate sticker for it, or maybe it'll be a sleeper to those that know what the difference between a Gemini and Apollo is. Yeah, we'll figure that out later. You can see on the front here, maybe you can, yeah. She took a hit at one point. Just gonna ignore that. Fixing it just means it's ready to get hit again. Now we gotta let it dry. And get back to the carburetors. Overall, though, it turned out pretty good. Cleaned up pretty good. It's enough washing. I don't really do these. I kind of skip past those on YouTube videos. So you probably did the same. A few days later, 5th of July, I've got new intake boots for these. So we've got that here. Got that and whatnot. Total cost for these was, I don't know, I think $25 maybe, something around there. This is the new one. This is the old one. Remember, old ones were delaminating pretty bad. You know, the rubber's starting to show its age and everything. So, going over these, I can see where the aftermarket one, it appears that the cutout for the bolt might be a little bit better, a little bit deeper, which might be a good thing. The aftermarket one, at least I would presume it is, it doesn't look like it needs to use Moto Seal, as it has that built-in O-ring right here. Versus here, this does not. I'm still going to put Moto Seal on that. That'd be the smart thing to do. The new ones, it came with these hose clamps. We're not going to use those. We're going to use the nice factory ones here. There's a reason why Carbs take these. I know my motorcycle has hose clamps. I will be replacing those. But there's another little thing you could do to also help seal these out, which I don't think I'm going to need to do. And it's a special type of sealant or whatever you can put on the inside where the carbs go in, and it'll seal around here. I don't think I'm going to have that problem with this. If I do, then I will go back to doing that. But these have a nice little groove right here, nice little groove on here. When you put them together, I mean, that's sealing really, really nicely right now. I mean, and put a clamp on that, that is pretty good. So these aftermarket ones, those are fantastic. And it's just not going to pop right out real easy. So I don't think I'm going to have to worry about putting any sealer around that. That is a perfect fit. So sometimes on aftermarket, you do get a good benefit and everything and whatnot. I went cheap on intake boots on my motorcycle, like $10 a boot, and they lasted a year. They ripped. They were trash. I went to Mike's SX for those, and they are of much better quality. These ones feel really good. So like I said, I'm going to put a little bit of Moto Seal around that. But first, I got to clean off the block back here. I got to clean off that really good. And then I could go ahead and I could throw some Moto Seal on the boots. Let it do a little bit of a tack up. And we can install it. And then I'm going to have to let it sit overnight because the Moto Seal's got its cure for 24 hours. Like I say, it has the O-ring, but I'm just going to be safe than sorry. While that's doing its cure thing, I need to find my fuel filters. I think I know where it's at, and replace that one and stuff like that. So lots to do, a little skipping around, but let's get this done real quick. Got that all nice and cleaned up. It's looking really, really, really good. So these are starting to skin over a little bit. Get my 6mm, Japanese metric. Put the bolts through so that they can start their thread engagement before I start putting the boot on, or attempt to. As I attempt to, there it goes, there's the first. I'm starting to make a little bit of a mess. Like I said, these are no ring ones, so there we go. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to get one side touching, get the next touching. I'm going to torque it down right here until I can't turn that anymore. And I'm just going to let it sit there. I'll finish up torquing down in a little bit, let things settle. So, I don't know what the torque specs are because I didn't look it up. So, that's how I don't know. But I'm pretty sure snug will do the job just fine. You don't sit there and crank on it, though. But they were good and tight, as a German would say, that it's good and tight. So, see, we're giving lessons today. We got Japanese and German mixed in. They all use the metric system, except the British. They had the British way of doing things. This one right here next to the clutch, thankfully it's a ball end, so it's a little easier to get. I just love working on two strokes, the simplicity of them. You can get real complex when it comes to port timing and stuff, but you kind of get an understanding of it, and you're going to really enjoy yourself and everything. So right here, that's good and tight. This one right here might be a little more difficult to do a good and tight on. We'll do that for the minute. Oh yeah, it's nice new parts on an old iron like this, but this it's definitely nice. I've actually been thinking to myself about performance two-stroke exhaust for this and stuff like that, but I'm thinking, do I really need that much performance on it? I mean, maybe just leave it factory and stuff, because if the family's going to be driving it, let's put a couple of two-stroke pipes on this. Each one has their own, and just, going down the road. But, I mean, that's looking pretty fantastic from here, my view at least. I don't know about you guys, but that's really, really nice. So, overall, I mean, for something that was not loved and neglected for a while, that's looking pretty good. Stuff like that. I don't know if I'll put the carbs on tonight. Just to, I might actually toss them on tonight and everything, and then tomorrow we'll start it because it's getting a little late out, and this is one of those things I kind of want to be running and stuff. But yeah, it's 5th of July. Hopefully you all had a good 4th, good safe 4th and everything like that. And those videos coming out like a week later. But hopefully I get more people that want to see content like this. I mean, yeah, we've got chainsaws and stuff and whatnot. The racing saw. I got to get the Lewis winch, but you know, there's always got to be something a little different. We got to toss into the mix here. No, like I say, small engines. So, all right. I'll go ahead and, like I say, give these a few more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and I guess we'll bolt the carbs on. I'll get them attached, bolt them on and stuff like that, and we'll let it sit. And no, hold on. I need to get down there and do that fuel filter, get that fuel and everything, the fuel lines. I might change them. I've got a little extra here to deal with and stuff. I think the pump will be all right because the carbs had fuel in them. So something had to have been pumping. If it proves it's going to be a problem, then I'll deal with it. I've already looked that up and everything down inside there. Right here, fuel pump. I've already looked it up and everything, the stuff to do it and whatnot, and it doesn't look like it's too bad of a process, but I said I'll mess with that. It looks like it's been changed out before because look how clean it is versus how dirty the block is. So it looks like somebody's already done it. It is official Mikuni. The MIC right down there. It is a Mikuni pump, so it's still all original. Somebody didn't get on Amazon and mess with that. Unfortunately, I am going to have to use these hose clamps because the screws on those clamps, I was not the first person in there, and I just barely got them off, and the screw heads are completely stripped out shot, so unfortunate series of events. So, all right. Anyways, getting back to where everybody belonged here. We'll do the far side carb first. In reverse order. Remember, your slide here, yeah, that's right, you guys are pointed down here. So this slide right here, I can't see the camera, I just remember I pointed. There's a notch, a little tiny thing in there. You can get this 180 out by mistake. Be sure you put it in correctly. Screw our top down. Hoping like hell you guys can see because I remember it looking right there. So our choke just goes right in, and all it does is open and close an air passage to allow more fuel to be drawn through. Come on, sweetie. There we go. And of course my wrenches. That's just hand tight there. Get my wrench here. I think you guys can still see. Double check. Yeah, you can see everything going on. Okay. I've got it zoomed in 3 times. So I'm trying to think what wrench size could that be. It's crescent wrench size. There we go. Probably a 12, 10 or 12. Just snug. Air bleeder here. I did find an online manual for this. Some 500 pages covering all models from like 72 to 81 or something like that. This is your mixture screw. When I got to these, they were pretty much 2 out. I put it at 1.5 now from my last video saying 2. And 1 is what the factory says. So I'm going to put it right in between where it was, and we'll see how well she does with that. It's nice and snug in there. Make sure she's level as can be. We'll take our big ass screwdriver and we'll finish up snugging this down. Just snug and make sure it's even all the way around. Those are not going, that's not going anywhere, I don't think. Same procedure for the other one. And I did keep the carburetors left and right, so they went back to their appropriate cylinder. Not that it should matter, because their cylinders are the exact same between side to side and everything. But I just wanted to keep that the way it was, the way I found it. Did the fuel filter, I decided to keep the one it had. It was clean, it was pretty good on the inside, blew through nicely. I just replaced the fuel line from it to the pump so I could see if there's a physical fuel going through. Other than that, I kept the rest of the cold lines on, which those are good for like -40, and I really don't see a reason why I would have to worry about that around here. The coldest it's gotten that I know of, at least in the last few years here, he got to -15 right at I think the year we moved into our house. That same winter got to -15 outside, and I'll tell you, that was a bright sunny day. -15, that was something to remember. Why aren't you going in, sweetie? There we go. Fine threads, so nice, aren't they? So I hope you guys can still see it. I'm just one cameraman trying to keep a little zoomed in here. Get the fuel lines hooked up here in a minute. Put that in there. I think I might have that one cinched up too tight. That I cinched them down just enough to where it wouldn't want to rotate too much on me when putting the carbs on. Yep, I did. Perfect. It just snaps, if you will, right into place. This is just good stuff right here. And like I said, we got to let that moto seal finish up. I want it to finish up just to be safe and sorry. That's good and snug right there. That's not going anywhere. Check the throttles. They both. That's good. That's good. Everything is happy. And these also take a 40-to-1 mix on these two. So go ahead and get our fuel lines. And I will use zip ties because they worked for the last guy. I don't see why they can't work for this guy. Go ahead and put that there. I mean, we're going to be really close here to firing up and everything. I love how they mounted the coils right underneath the carburetors so that when it fuel leaks, it'll go right over an ignition source and they can potentially just stop it from working too. You know, that's the beauty of engineering back then. And to this day, there's still some that I don't understand why they do what they do, but they do. Okay. Making sure that's not a hole in the line, and that's not, so we're good. Put a few zip ties here. Click, click, click. That's what I heard, and then it stopped. Do this one more time. I think that's all the zip ties holding everything together. And I'm excited to hear this thing run too, but I gotta wait until I have adult supervision, i.e. my wife nearby. Those aren't pulling off, so we'll go ahead and flush cut that. Because, you know, in the middle of winter, you want to be working under here for some reason, and your skin's already colder than hell, and just cut everything up. The air box I'm not going to worry about yet. It's just a silencer box. It doesn't actually add any restriction, if you will. It doesn't seem to appear to do that. I've seen some guys put filters on these. That's a no-no. Do not put filters on them. Wintertime, unless you're running these in the summer, you put a filter on. In the wintertime, there's no need for filters, simply because you'll gather moisture on them, and then you're going to cause bigger problems for yourself. In the wintertime, there's no need to be running filters. Not much dust or particulate in the air, so no need whatsoever. But pretty stoked about this one here. Hopefully the chokes work. I mean, Yeah, I can feel them. I can hear them. I can hear everything moving as it should. So we'll see. We'll see about that and whatnot. But overall, you guys are wanting me to do. You want me to put a shot of fuel down it, and then it's going to just continue to run. Well, actually, there's no fuel in the tank, but you're right. We need to hear it. We need to hear it before, we do a run on it. So this is 32-1 clots. Open up the throttle. Shoot a little good down that one. Same thing here. Door's opening behind me, so it feels like there's a wife behind me. Alright. Pull you guys back here. Or take some tools off here. Here it run tonight. But tomorrow we'll go ahead. So let's procedure here. Let's see here. All right, key on. Choke we don't need. Huh. Sounds pretty good to me. Sounded pretty good. We'll have to continue tomorrow. But the clutches on these don't engage to about 4,500 RPM, so I think they idle at around 2. And then you really start giving it to beans, and then right here, we got to get these adjusted upward. And also, I found out what the things were on the side here too. So more reading, didn't do asking, actually did my research. So this is your brakes. Your hydraulic brakes. This is technically supposed to be a bleeder screw, and instead it got replaced with a different type of bleeder, a finger bleeder. So I don't know what the switch is for. There's no light or anything on this that I understand. So there's just some switch in there. But this is a bleeder, and then you just bleed your system with like DOT3 or whatever. It's a hydraulic brake. Inside of here is your brake shoes somewhere. Behind these covers, there's brake shoes. There's an adjuster right here and whatnot, but I need to check the chain fluid down below. It doesn't really hold that much fluid, but there's a red one down there. You supposedly you undo that one to drain, fill up here, and then with that red one put it still out, you fill it up until it starts coming out of it, and then that's your level for filling. From my reading, my comprehension of the manual. So, alrighty. Well, let's let that moto seal cure, and we will be back tomorrow. Highlight, let's just run it. like I added some, but I can feel it trying to move. At 45, 100 RPM. Oh yeah, it's trying to move. It's like the idle is not having it. But the headlight works too if you didn't see that. Yeah, it's like I smell bad gas we're running off of. Yeah, it's like it's having a hell of a time idling for some reason. Trying to put on the respirator. You know that thing I talk about safety? I'm breathing in. See how well it works. I'm trying to test. Yeah, I don't know. Not idling worth a shit. But the idle screws are turned in pretty far. I'm in a very slow idle for 2-stroke. It feels like I may need to tighten up the cable a little bit. It's got too much slack in it. It is, well, I mean, look at it in here. You can't. This is why I started wearing the respirator. That's enough of that. Let's get this aired out of here. Let's get the garage door open. Somebody's been working on 2 strokes in the garage. Huh. I think we ran out of fuel finally. Oh yeah, we ran clean out of fuel. Good. Burned out any residue of the old stuff. And I had the clean stuff that I dumped in like a half gallon. Or maybe a quarter gallon. It was whatever was left in the 1 gallon, but... Alright, well, we'll continue this off tomorrow. So it's like 2 days later. I'm not sure if I even mentioned what I'm going to do in the video, but we're going to end that as part 2, and part 3 it will be driving. It will be driving. But we're going to be driving on the most sketchy of Harbor Freight tires that I have. Ace Hardware, can you believe they have 10-inch spindles for something like this? Look at this. Look at 10-inch spindles and put the wheels on and bolt it down. It's going to be amazing, everybody. And we're going to U-bolt it on, too. See, and drill holes in U-bolt. Got to catch part 3 for that. So then, thanks for watching, everybody.